I never imagined that the quietest moment of my life would happen in a ballroom filled with more than 300 people. The invitation called it a charity gala. My husband insisted I come, saying appearances mattered. By then I had learned that appearances usually meant smiling while he collected admiration from people who barely knew us. For years, his jokes about me had become a feature of every gathering. She worries too much. She wouldn't survive one day in business. She's lucky I keep her around. People laughed because he laughed first. I usually smiled. It was easier than explaining how exhausting it was to become the punchline of someone else's confidence. That evening the stage lights were warm, the music soft, and the auctioneer had just finished raising money for several local programs. The mood was generous, relaxed. Then my husband asked for the microphone. "I've got one last item," he said, grinning. The audience chuckled before he had even finished speaking. He pointed toward me. "Who wants this useless wife? Let's start the bidding at $20." The room erupted. Some laughed because they thought it was scripted. Others looked away. A few exchanged uncomfortable glances but remained silent. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I simply stayed in my chair, staring at the tablecloth while every second stretched into something impossible to measure. Then another voice echoed across the ballroom. 2 million. The laughter stopped so suddenly that I could hear glasses being placed back onto tables. Every face turned. Near the back of the room stood one of the evening's lead benefactors, a respected business leader whose foundation had funded many of the gala's projects. He wasn't smiling. Neither was the chairperson of the charity standing beside him. The benefactor spoke again, calmly. Not because any human being can be bought. His eyes remained fixed on the stage. But because if this room can laugh while someone's dignity is treated like property, we've forgotten why we're here. The chairperson immediately walked to the microphone. "This event is suspended." Her voice carried through every corner of the ballroom. "What just occurred is completely inconsistent with our organization's values. No shouting, no spectacle, just unmistakable authority." Staff members quietly approached the stage. The microphone was taken from my husband's hand. Within minutes, the scheduled program had ended. People who had laughed earlier now avoided eye contact. Some approached me with hesitant apologies. Others simply left. My husband kept trying to explain that everyone had misunderstood. It was only a joke. No one seemed interested anymore. Over the following weeks, consequences arrived without drama. The charity publicly distanced itself from the incident. Several professional partnerships quietly disappeared. Speaking invitations stopped. No dramatic headlines. No public campaign against him. Just trust dissolving one conversation at a time. At home, he kept repeating the same sentence. "You should tell people I'm not that kind of person." For the first time in years, I answered without fear. "They already saw who you chose to be." The hardest part wasn't leaving the marriage. It was admitting how long I had confused endurance with loyalty. I had believed that staying silent protected peace. Instead, it had slowly erased pieces of myself. Months later, I attended another fundraiser. This time I came alone. The chairperson recognized me and simply asked, "How are you?" No pity, no curiosity. Just a sincere question. I realized I could answer honestly. "I'm getting there." She smiled and nodded as if that was enough. Because it was. Some victories don't arrive with applause. Sometimes they begin the moment you stop accepting humiliation as the price of belonging. I walked out of that building into the evening air without looking back. Nothing about my future was certain, but for the first time in a very long time, my dignity no longer depended on whether anyone in the room chose to laugh.